its face was a perfectly legitimate call for the incoming National Security Advisor to make. And so I asked the U.S. Attorney at that point, because of all these attacks by the Defense Counsel on the department's handling of it, to take a look at it. And this is a man who was 10 years an FBI agent, 10 years as a career prosecutor in the department, and a top lawyer in St. Louis, Missouri. And I asked him to take a look at it, and he did, and he found a lot of things that had not come to light before, had not been provided to Flynn's lawyer, that showed, for example, that the FBI agents who interviewed, it showed clearly that the FBI agents who interviewed Flynn did not think he was lying. Now, this was later minimized in testimony as suggesting, well, they meant he didn't break out into sweat, his eye pupils didn't contract. That's all they were saying. No. They were saying they didn't believe that he thought he was lying at the time. And various other facts like that about what the real purpose of the interview was, which looked to Jensen as if it was essentially held just to try to, it was untethered to any legitimate investigative purpose. Its sole purpose was to try to get him to lie. So, based on those factors and the fact that I didn't think it met the standards of prosecution of the Department of Justice, I decided to drop the case.
It's interesting to me. How many civil liberties groups supported your decision? ACLU?
No, in fact, none of the defense groups that would normally be jumping up and down here, because one of the arguments being made is that he shouldn't be able to withdraw his plea. Well, most defense lawyers in the country would say that's outrageous. But here, of course, they're silent. This has to do with the rule of law. The people, many of my critics, are constantly spouting the term rule of law. They don't know what it means. I don't think they've ever really thought about it. But the rule of law means at its core that any rule you apply to one person, you have to be willing to, and in fact do, apply to the next and the next who's similarly situated. That's an important discipline that protects all of us, because it means anything the government's going to do to me, they're going to be willing to do to someone else in my position. And that means that rules generally, if you really believe that and think about it, it means that rules will be reasonably applied. And that didn't happen. And whenever I've intervened in a case, I don't consider it intervening. I'm the Attorney General, and people are exercising the power of the Attorney General. But whenever I'm supervising a case that I don't think is being handled fairly to the individual, because the individual is being singled out and treated differently, I'll stop that, because that's what